Welcome back, all you sports and gambling fans out there. Today, I'm going to be giving you an NBA rundown, starting with the game between the Chicago Bulls and the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, Chicago hasn't lost 4 straight games yet this season, but that's on the line in the city of brotherly love this Wednesday. Not a real surprise that the Bulls are on a 3-game losing skid, considering that they continue to play without their top 3 best players in Derrick Rose, Jimmy Butler, and Taj Gibson. Now, the latter is the closest to returning, but it's not going to be this Wednesday. Now, the 76ers look for their 4th 2-game winning streak of the season as they upset Atlanta 92-84 on Saturday when the Hawks rested 3 of their starters. Now, rookie Nerlens Noel had 11 points and 17 rebounds for the 76ers, who erased a 16-point deficit. The Bulls won a close early season meeting with Philadelphia, so Jason thinks that we should actually take the points for this one. Next up, we have the Grizzlies going up against the Celtics, and Boston, a playoff team? Well, I guess they're not out of the question in the weak Eastern Conference yet. The Celtics have won 3 of their past 4 games entering to Wednesday's matchup against Memphis, one of the West's best clubs. Now, there's only one key injury to watch here for Boston. Guard Isaiah Thomas, acquired at the deadline, took a rough fall on Monday's win over Miami. He did play through it, but those things tend to stiffen up later on. Now, Thomas has appeared in 10 games, all off the bench, since the Celtics acquired him. Now, he's averaged 21.4 points, and Boston is 6-4. Memphis comes here beating the visiting Celtics by 17 back in November. Scott thinks that we should take the points with Boston. Next up, we have the Nets going up against the Heat, and Miami will be without 3 starters for this game, or could be. Now, power starter Udonis Haslem starting for the out-of-season Chris Bosh, and guard Goran Dragic both missed Monday's 10-point home loss to Boston with injuries, and thus are questionable against Brooklyn. Dragic has missed 2 straight games with a back contusion, but looks likely that he could play. Meanwhile, Dwayne Wade is a game-time call with an illness. For sure that is out is center Hassan Whiteside. He was suspended for a flagrant foul on the Celtics' Kelly's Olynyk this past Monday's loss. With another big man, Chris Anderson, doubtful with an ankle injury, the Heat could really have a small lineup for this game. Miami is going for a 4-game sweep of Brooklyn after the Nets swept the LeBron James-led Heat last regular season. Now, the Nets lost their 4th straight game this Tuesday, 111-91 at home to New Orleans. Where does Scott lead here? Go ahead and check out his article. Next up, we have the Clippers going up against the Thunder, and it's not a lock that Paul will play here against Westbrook. Now, Paul was a game-time decision Monday with a knee bruise against the Minnesota Timberwolves, but labored through it, shooting just 1 for 6 for 2 points in 30 minutes. Now, he did have 15 assists, though. LA still won by 13 without Paul, Blake Griffin, and Jamal Crawford, both of whom will not play this Thursday. Westbrook, meanwhile, has 5 triple-doubles in the last 6 games, in which he's averaged 36.8 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists. The Clippers have split 2 matchups against the Thunder, with each team winning at home. That's misleading because the Thunder weren't full strength in their loss, and neither was Los Angeles in its. Jordan thinks that the Thunder are going to cover on this one. The next one that we have here is the Hawks going up against the Nuggets. Atlanta begins a season-high 6-game road trip in this one, and don't be surprised to see Coach Mike Budenholzer rest some of his key guys, perhaps for a game or 2 on the trip, because the Hawks have such a commanding lead in the Eastern Conference. Now, with everybody in the lineup Monday, the Hawks scored a season-high 130 points en route of the Kings, behind the team record 20 3-pointers. Now, Denver is playing more up-tempo under interim coach Melvin Hunt and is 3-2 under him after quitting on former coach Brian Shaw. Now, Matt says that we should actually give the points here as long as Budenholzer cooperates with his lineup. Next up, we have the Pistons going up against the Warriors, and it's never fun to play in Oakland, where the Warriors are 27-2, but especially on a second of back-to-back, and that's pretty much what Detroit is going to be doing after losing 93-85 on Tuesday at LA against the Lakers. Now, it was the Pistons' 7th straight loss, and their acquisition of Reggie Jackson simply hasn't worked out. He's shooting around 35% in 8 games since the trade. Now, the Warriors carry a 4-game winning streak into this one and appear to be pulling away atop the West. They are the 20th team in the league history to start a season with 50 wins in at least 62 games. The last was the San Antonio Spurs in the 2010 to 2011 season. Now, Golden State won by 11 in Motown in late November. Matt just can't resist taking the points on this one. And last but not least, we had that Rockets game going up against the Portland Trail Blazers. And Portland looked devastated in its first game after losing starting shooting guard and team leader Wesley Matthews for a season to injury, as the Blazers were knocked off 121 to 113 in Minnesota on Saturday to end a 5-game winning streak. Now, it's a big loss, but at least Portland did trade for Aaron Affalo, who moves into the starting lineup. Now, the Blazers bench was outscored by Minnesota 46 to 22 with Affalo no longer a reserve. Expect a big game from Houston's James Harden here, who's averaging about 44.5 points in 2 games against Portland this season, with each team winning once in Houston. Now, this is Houston's first game in Portland since Blazers guard Damian Lillard hit an epic series-winning three-pointer at the buzzer in Game 6 in Round 1 of last year's playoff. If you want the pick for this one, go ahead and check out Jordan's article. Anyways, that's all for today. I'll be back with more NBA coverage and odds very soon. Till then, for SBR Picks, this is Dax Floyd.